Hey Monica, how you doing?
Hey, Brinley, here we are talking about this great, the perfect real estate operations team. How does that happen? How do you
How
build?
does it happen? It has been an incredible first launch.
It has, and we had a huge crowd that joined us, a great group of assistants and agents. And people always wonder, should the agents be on this call? What's so great about this call? We want your whole team on the call. So
Absolutely.
sign one contract, the whole team can go on there. And so a lot of people have taken the perfect real estate assistant. That's about systems. This is a very, very concentrated deep dive. And I have to give you credit. I don't think of too many people out there that have done over 2,000 transactions, closed them. And I've been in real estate for 40 years. I haven't even added up how many transactions I've done. And so between the two of us and then me running a seventh level team where the Rainmaker netted $1 million, not too many people can say that. And he netted $1 million for 8 years in a row. So we know about the profit. We know how to build it. And I had people on my team that had been there for years and years and years. And, over 8 years. So everyone on my team had been there, I had taken them on and they stayed for 8 years until I, resigned, and I'm a head coach and you're a coach with MAPS also. And they asked us to put this program together. So technically, I don't think there's anyone better than me partnering with you, because you bring all this great technology, all this efficient stuff where I'm going, here's what I need. And you go, okay, well, we can use this system and that system.
Wow. Well, and I think what's awesome too, like what a lot of people are, what I'm hearing, the feedback that we're getting is our ops teams are getting better at scripting. They're getting better at asking for reviews. They're getting better at asking for referrals. Like there's a lot of good that's coming by really deep diving in to these various roles within an operations team. Like you said, I don't think there's any training out there that goes deep into the listing management world, that goes deep into transaction management, and then covers director of operations, which is kind of a smorgasbord of everything learning to run the business.
Yeah, and I know you've seen it because you coach all the top director of operations on these big mega teams. There's so many mistakes made. People jump. And in fact, I had a conversation with a coach today who said, okay, they want a director of operations and they want them in coaching. And I go, okay, great. Tell me about their team. How many deals did they do? 50. And they go, 50? They don't need a director of operations. They need business.
Well, it's like I said on stage with Gary. If you have to have operations to direct in order to be a director of operations.
And so we have to follow the model. So the model is you have two assistants. You're doing about 75 to 100 transactions. You have a showing assistant, then you have a buyer agent, showings, then you keep bringing on buyer agents. You got to have the production. So, I'm just going to throw a number out there. It's somewhere in that 150 plus range before you even think about a director of operations. Don't you? Do you agree with that? Because we haven't
I do, and I really think it depends on the team. I think we throw titles around in a huge way. Really, typically, when you have a solid director of operations, they have a listing manager, they have a TC, and even possibly have an EA for the team owner. So yes, you're probably talking about that 150 to 200 range before you hire a high-level director of operations. And guys, we're not seeing, the compensation for this role, this is an executive C-suite type role.
And I say that director of operations is not paid the same as a listing manager or a TC. However, let me share something that you said, and you and I agree on this. One of the things that's so interesting to me when somebody is building out a team, they really think that they can take one assistant and they do contract to close. Well, that works if you're one agent with a buyer agent or two. That doesn't work when you start to build a team.
No.
Book call the one thing, I'd check it out if I were you.
Yeah.
A TC is a different profile than a listing manager.
Absolutely.
Different personalities, different demeanors, different skills. Those two people are totally different. And so we make the mistake of pigeonholing the wrong person into those two jobs. You can't have a high I as a TC. That just doesn't work in most works.
No.
Unless they're versatility, right?
You have to have versatility. And that's what the program is so great for, is cross-training also. So what we're having a lot of teams are doing is they're cross-training. So basically we're taking the 30, 60, 90 from the listing manager role and giving it to the TC, and taking the 30, 60, 90 from the TC role and giving it to the listing manager. And then they're using the program to cross-train. It's brilliant.
It is brilliant. You brought that up the other day and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I hadn't even thought of that. So this is a training for cross-training. Now let's talk about cross-training. That doesn't mean they own the job from A to Z.
No, not at all.
Let's say that listing manager is taking a week off. Okay, the TC jumps in and does the minimum things that need to be done. They're not owning all the files. They're just making them all move forward smoothly without any huge hiccups for the client. Yeah. And yet everyone on the team should be cross-trained. Then the other thing is the director of operations has to know how to sit in all those seats.
Everything.
And so no one really has a very detailed job description. So when we say we go really deep, we do 6 calls on a listing manager, 6 calls on a TC, 6 calls on a director of operations. And because of your expertise and because of what I've done in the industry and know and been an agent and all that for a million years, then we figured out exactly what that director of operations does. Now, you've seen it work, I've seen it work, and I've seen really the horror mistakes out there as people build out a team, what they expect that director of operations to do and be. Crazy.
Well, and we've had huge teams that have been in existence for 5, 10 years that are taking the course, and they're going back and saying, we've gotten so big that we needed to go back to the basics. We needed to go back to our foundation and see where our holes were. And just being in the course week to week brought up different things that we haven't thought about in years.
You know, what's really fun about what we do, and we hadn't done this before, is we interview a top listing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We interview an incredible TC that's handling 35 to 55 to 65 transactions a month, not a year, a month. And then we also talk to a great director of operations. Mm-hmm. What's some of the insights that we've learned in that, Brinley, that you think?
Oh my goodness. We've learned that everyone does it different.
That's for sure.
Right? We're learning what it looks like to have true ownership in these roles. These are not assistant data entry, paper pushing positions. These are powerful men and women that are owning their roles and creating the backbone for their teams. So it's really showing an example of what talent in these roles looks like.
You know, and I think that's so smart too. When you come to these calls, you know, we give you the blueprints. We're not saying that this is the end all to be all. We know that these work. We're not giving you, hey, we thought of a good idea, or we heard about this. No, these are proven strategies, proven systems.
Absolutely.
Profiles of the excellent people that we've interviewed. We figured out what is that perfect profile of a listing manager, you know, TC and a director of operations. So when you take career visioning and all the other courses, 30, 60, 90, we highly recommend. We just absolutely complement it. And we're just the class on steroids on each one of those positions, right?
And week after week, you can bring your questions to Monica and I and ask us. And you have 18 weeks with us to ask us anything.
We're live. Can you imagine that?
Oh my goodness. It's quite the show. Even someone today said Monica and Brinley's dynamic is like hilarious. So we're going to keep you laughing too.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, she's got all the other stuff and I've got, well, here's what I think. So we kind of give you 2 perspectives, but on the big items, we're 100% congruent. And so what's fun about that, you're going to get 2 different perspectives. Like I said, I was a mega agent and she's done thousands and thousands and thousands of transactions and knows that and works with all the DOs. So, you know, it's a really good combination that MAPS put us together. It was kind of like oil and water in the beginning, but we kind of figured it out, didn't we?
We figured it out. You know, 2 high Ds. She's a double D though. I'm only 1 D.
Yeah.
So right. November. So should we tell them when it is? November 6th?
Oh, we can tell them that. It's November 6th and then it's at 9 o'clock Pacific, 10 Mountain, 11 Central, and 12 Eastern. So again, it's 9 Pacific, 10 Mountain, 11 Central, 12 Eastern. Do you know that I had someone, and it was an agent, not an assistant. This is such a funny story. And they said, well, I'd like to join the 12 o'clock time. And I said, well, you're in Oregon. How are you going to do that? I'll just dial in at 12. And I go, well, that doesn't work. It's then 3 o'clock. And they couldn't understand that. It's like, are you crazy? So that's why assistants listening to this call, executive assistants, this call's for you. We really want you on these calls. And again, we just have a lot of fun. And the key thing too about that is you will see things you've never seen before.
Absolutely.
This is not a repeat of Perfect Real Estate Assistant. This is the next level, deep, deep dives into building these big, big mega teams. This is for expansion people who are thinking about expansion. So when you think about who are the people that we should be absolutely thinking about, go to this. It's an agent who's thinking about expansion. It's an agent who's thinking about growing their team. It's an assistant, and I love what you said, who's thinking of going to the next seat, right? Growing.
You can't go to DOO if you haven't mastered your role and replaced yourself.
Right. It's also cross-training, and it's also for any of the assistants on your team that are looking at going to a different position, or they really want to own the position that they have.
Absolutely.
Manager, and they want to own it at the deepest level possible. Maybe they've been a listing manager for 2 or 3 years. What's the next level to owning that? And we're very specific about these, about talking about repeat and referral business, customer service, and also Brinley brings a lot of the technology with the efficiency. Now, we do bring in Kelly, and we will be bringing in Command. We do give you our perspectives on that and all the great things that that's doing.
Absolutely.
And a director of operations has to own that position because she's got to teach everyone, or he does, right?
Yeah. And we have to know how to recruit. We have to know how to onboard. We have to know how to build culture. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to teach you how to master your time. So Monica, want to wrap it up?
You know, here's what I want to suggest. I've been doing this for almost 40 years, coaching for over 25, and I can honestly say this is probably one of the very, very best put together programs that I've ever worked on. And Brinley brings such a great piece to the program. And between the two of us, the systems, the interviews, how hard we've worked on putting this program together, you will not be disappointed. We have people in the current class. We are always updating and changing the material. And so, you know, what does Gary say? How many times should you go to a class, Brinley?
10
times. And so, you know, the key for us is that join the class, see how beneficial it is, look at the opportunities. And if you're the mega agent listening to this right now, get on those calls too, because everybody listens differently. So an executive assistant, listing manager, DO, they're listening for one thing, 2 things that they want to gravitate toward. And yes, a mega agent, I go, hey, I heard this. And they go, oh yeah, I didn't hear that. I go, well, I really want this to be done too. So come together as a group, make it a community where you're going to take that time on that day, which is Tuesday, I believe, right, Brinley?
Yes, Tuesdays.
And make that part of your training. Invest in your people. Invest in the growth of your business. We'd love to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody come. We'll see you on November 6th.
How do they sign up, Brinley? How do they sign up?
Go to kwmapscoaching.com and click on the Perfect Real Estate
Operations team.
Operations team. The Perfect Operations team. Too many perfects. So we'll see you guys on November 6th. Bye.
Bye.